Jake, I feel like a total failure. Last month, I posted on Instagram that I was going to run a marathon. I told my mom, my boss, and my friends. I bought the shoes, I made the plan, and I felt great. But guess what? I quit after 3 days. I haven't run a single mile since then. Now I look like a liar, and I feel embarrassed. Why does this keep happening to me?
Anna, take a deep breath. You are not a failure, but you fell into a biological trap. By telling everyone your goal, your brain released dopamine, the feel-good chemical, before you even did the work. Your brain thought you had already succeeded, so it stopped trying. Today, we are going to learn how to fix that by mastering the art of silence.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Talk in English channel. I'm your host, Anna. We are starting a transformative new series today called Focus on Yourself and Stay Silent. In a world that is loud and obsessed with social media, we are going to teach you the power of privacy, deep focus, and self-improvement.
And I'm Jake. Welcome, guys. As you heard in the intro, I have a big problem with oversharing. I tend to talk about my big plans, get a lot of likes and congratulations, and then lose all my motivation to actually do the hard work. I really need to learn how to zip my lips and focus.
It is a very common problem in American culture today. We are taught that if we don't post it, it didn't happen. But the most successful people, the ones who really change their lives, usually practice what we call moving in silence. It means working hard in the shadows so your success can make the noise later.
Moving in silence. I love that phrase. It sounds like being a ninja, but it is so hard. When I have a new idea or a new project, I get so excited. I want to share that energy with my friends. Is it really wrong to want support from the people around me?
Support is good, but validation is dangerous. When you tell people your goals, you're usually looking for early praise. You want them to say, "Wow, Jake, you are so disciplined." But that praise satisfies your hunger. You need to stay hungry. You need to keep that energy inside to use as fuel for the actual work, which is boring and hard.
That makes so much sense. I felt satisfied just by announcing the marathon. I felt like an athlete even though I was sitting on the couch. So the strategy is to keep the goal a secret until it is actually done. That requires a lot of self-control and discipline.
Exactly. It builds character. When you keep a secret promise to yourself, you build self-trust. You learn that you don't need applause to take action. You just need your own commitment. So for this series, we are going to explore how to shut out the noise, ignore the haters, and build a life you are proud of.
I'm ready for this change. I want to build a life, not just a social media feed. I want to learn how to be validated by my own progress, not by other people's opinions. This is going to be a deep series, Anna. I hope our listeners are ready to dig deep with us.
I think they are. We're going to cover everything from social media to financial privacy. But first, we have to address the biggest enemy of silence, the urge to broadcast our lives online. That is what we'll do. Get ready to log off and tune in.
The oversharing trap. Anna, I realized something scary after our last conversation. I looked at my phone and I realized I have an addiction to oversharing. If I eat a nice burger, I post it. If I go to the gym, I post it. If I have a bad day, I post a sad quote. Why am I doing this?
It's the dopamine loop, Jake. We've been conditioned to seek external validation for every small event in our lives. But here's the problem. When you overshare, you invite the world into your private business. You give people permission to judge you, comment on you, and influence your mood. You're handing over your power to strangers on the internet.
You're right. If I post a picture and it doesn't get enough likes, I actually feel bad about myself. It ruins my day. It's pathetic. I'm letting an algorithm determine my self-worth. I need to learn the difference between being secret and being private.
That's a crucial distinction. Being secret implies you are hiding something bad or shameful. Being private means you are protecting something valuable. You don't leave your front door wide open for strangers to walk in, right? So why do you leave your life wide open on the internet? Privacy is about protection and peace.
Privacy is protection. I like that. I noticed that the happiest people I know post the least. They're too busy enjoying the moment to stop, take a photo, edit it, filter it, and think of a witty caption. They're actually living while I'm just documenting.
Exactly. There's a saying, live a life you don't need to post about. When you stop performing for an audience, you start figuring out what you actually like. Do you really like hiking, or do you just like how you look in hiking gear on Instagram? Silence helps you find your authentic self.
That hits hard. I think I do a lot of things just for the aesthetic. So, what is the challenge here? Do I have to delete all of my accounts? That feels extreme. I still want to stay in touch with my friends and see what they're doing.
You don't have to delete them, but you can go on a digital detox or change your habits. Try this. For 1 week, do not post anything. You can look, but don't post. Keep your moments for yourself. If you see a beautiful sunset, just watch it. Let the memory be yours alone.
That sounds like a relief, honestly. No pressure to be perfect, no pressure to come up with clever captions, just existing. It frees up so much mental energy that I can use for my actual goals, like learning English or exercising.
And it protects your energy from the evil eye or negative vibes. Not everyone wants to see you win, Jake. When you broadcast your happiness, you attract jealousy. When you stay private, you protect your blessings from negative energy. Keep your wins to yourself until they're solid.
I'm going to try it. I'm going to go ghost mode for a while. I'll disappear from the feed and focus on my real life. But Anna, when I'm scrolling, I see other people's perfect lives and I feel jealous. That's another problem.
Ah, the comparison trap. That's a huge mental block. It's hard to focus on yourself when you're constantly looking at others. We need to discuss how to put on blinders and stay in your own lane. That is coming up next. Jake, you mentioned feeling jealous when scrolling through social media. This is what Theodore Roosevelt called the thief of joy, comparison. When you focus on what others have, you become blind to what you have. You cannot focus on yourself if your eyes are constantly on your neighbor's plate.
It's so hard not to, though. I see my friends getting promoted, buying houses, or traveling to Europe. I feel like I'm falling behind. I feel like I'm losing a race that I didn't even know I was running. How do I stop looking sideways?
You have to realize that you are comparing your behind the scenes with their highlight reel. You see their vacation photos, but you don't see their credit card debt. You see their promotion, but you don't see their stress or their insomnia. You are comparing a fantasy to your reality.
That is true. I only post the good stuff, so I assume they do the same. I guess I need to focus on my own path. There is a phrase I hear in American English, stay in your lane. Does that apply here?
Absolutely. Stay in your lane comes from swimming or driving. If a swimmer looks at the person in the next lane to see who is winning, they slow down. They lose their form. To win, you have to look forward at the finish line, not sideways at the competition.
I need to put on those blinders that horses wear. But seriously, it's about defining success for myself. If my goal is to be a writer, why am I jealous of a friend who became a banker? We are playing different games with different rules.
Exactly. You need to define your own metrics of success. If you judge a fish by its ability to climb a tree, it will live its whole life believing it is stupid. You need to know what you want, independent of what society tells you to want.
I think my insecurity comes from a lack of focus. If I were truly busy building my own life, I wouldn't have time to worry about anyone else. Boredom breeds jealousy. When I'm working hard on something I love, I forget to check Instagram.
That is the key. The cure for jealousy is purpose. When you are obsessed with your own growth, other people's success doesn't threaten you. In fact, it inspires you. You think, good for them. Now back to my work.
I want to get to that point. I want to reach a state of neutrality. I don't want to hate them, but I don't want to worship them either. I just want to focus on my own progress. Me versus me from yesterday. That is the only valid comparison.
Yes. Are you smarter than you were last month? Are you kinder? Are you healthier? If the answer is yes, you are winning. If the answer is no, then get back to work. Stop looking out the window and start looking in the mirror.
It's liberating to let go of the competition. It takes a huge weight off my shoulders. I can just walk my own path at my own speed. But Anna, to make real progress, I need to do deep work. I need to concentrate.
You need to enter monk mode. This is a popular concept in self-improvement right now. It's about extreme focus and eliminating distractions to achieve a massive goal. It's a sprint of self-improvement.
So instead of trying to improve slowly over 10 years, I compress all that effort into a short, intense period. That sounds effective. But what do I have to give up? I assume video games and partying are out.
Yes, the 3 pillars of monk mode are usually no alcohol or substances, 30 minutes of exercise daily, and no social media or doom scrolling. You replace cheap dopamine with deep work. This is work performed in a state of distraction-free concentration.
Deep work. I've heard of that book by Cal Newport. It's the opposite of what I usually do, which is shallow work. Checking emails every 5 minutes and multitasking. I feel like I'm busy, but I get nothing done.
Multitasking is a myth. You cannot focus on 2 things at once. In monk mode, you block out time, say 4 hours every morning, where you do nothing but your most important task. Phone off, door locked, 0 interruptions.
That sounds terrifying, but also amazing. Imagine how much English I could learn if I studied for 2 hours a day with 0 distractions. No phone notifications popping up, just me and the language. I could probably master it in 6 months.
You absolutely could. When you remove the noise, your brain power increases. You enter a flow state. This is where the magic happens. You lose track of time and the work becomes easy, but you have to protect that time aggressively.
It requires saying no to a lot of things. No to Friday night drinks, no to Netflix marathons. My friends might think I'm being antisocial or weird. They might wonder where I went.
Let them wonder. That is the point. You are moving in silence. You disappear for a while, and when you come back, you are leveled up. You have a new skill, a new physique, or a new business. The results will explain your absence.
It's like a caterpillar going into a cocoon. It disappears, dissolves, and rebuilds itself. It's not a permanent state. You don't stay in the cocoon forever, but you need that isolation to transform into the butterfly.
Beautiful analogy, Jake. You need to be comfortable with solitude. You need to be bored. Boredom is good. When your brain is bored, it becomes creative. When you're constantly entertained by TikTok, your brain turns to mush.
I'm ready to try a mini monk mode, maybe just for 2 weeks to start. I'll delete the apps from my phone and wake up early to work on my side project. I want to see what I'm capable of when I'm not distracted.
That is a great start. But be prepared, Jake. When you start focusing on yourself and saying no to people, you might face some resistance. People don't always like it when you change.
You mean haters or just friends who don't get it?
Both. Dealing with negativity is a huge part of this journey. You need mental armor. Jake, here's a hard truth. When you start improving yourself, you shine a light on other people's lack of progress. Your growth can make other people feel insecure, and often they react with criticism, mockery, or negativity. They become haters.
I've noticed that. When I started eating healthy, my friends made fun of me. They said, "Oh, look at Jake. He's too good for pizza now." It really hurt. I almost quit my diet just to fit in again. Why do they do that?
It's a defense mechanism. They are crabs in a bucket. When one crab tries to climb out, the others pull him back down. They aren't bad people, but your change threatens their comfort zone. They want you to stay the same so they don't have to question themselves.
So, how do I handle it? Do I fight back? Do I explain myself? Do I try to convince them that I'm right? It's exhausting trying to justify my choices to everyone.
No, you do not explain, you do not complain. You practice stoicism. The best reaction is silence. As the Romans said, the best revenge is not to be like that. When you argue, you lower yourself to their level. When you stay silent and keep working, you win.
Stoicism. That's the philosophy of controlling your emotions, right? Focusing only on what you can control. I can't control their comments, but I can control my reaction.
Exactly. Imagine you are a gray rock. If someone yells at a rock, the rock doesn't care. Be the gray rock. Do not give them the emotional reaction they're looking for. If they say, "You're boring now," just smile and say, "Maybe I am," and keep working.
That is powerful. It takes the fuel away from their fire. If I don't get angry, they look stupid trying to insult me. Silence is actually a power move. It shows that I am confident in my path.
Yes, lions do not lose sleep over the opinions of sheep. You are on a mission. You don't have time for drama. Save your energy for your monk mode goals. Negative energy is draining.
It's hard when it's family, though. Strangers on the internet are easy to ignore. But when your brother or your best friend doubts you, it stings.
It does. In those cases, you have to love them from a distance. You don't have to cut them off completely, but you stop sharing your dreams with them. Share your results, not your plans. Protect your dream like a baby. It is fragile.
I need to build a mental fortress. I need to be careful about who I let inside. If someone is constantly negative, they lose the privilege of knowing my business.
Correct. You are the CEO of your life. You can fire people from your inner circle, or at least demote them to acquaintance. Surround yourself with people who fan your flames, not people who put them out.
I'm going to stop seeking their approval. Their doubt is actually fuel for me now. I want to prove them wrong, not with words, but with my success. Watch me.
That is the best attitude. But to maintain this focus, you have to set rules. You have to teach people how to treat you.
That sounds like setting boundaries.
Exactly.
Anna, I have a disease. I am a people pleaser. I can't say no. If someone asks me to help them move furniture, I say yes. If they invite me to a boring party, I say yes. I'm exhausted because I'm living everyone else's life, not mine.
Jake, you are suffering from a lack of boundaries. A boundary is a line that marks the limit of your time, energy, and emotional capacity. If you don't have walls, people will walk all over your lawn. You need to learn that no is a complete sentence.
No is a complete sentence. I love that. I always feel like I have to make an excuse. I can't come because my cat is sick and my car broke down. I lie because I feel guilty.
You don't need to lie. You just need to be firm and polite. I appreciate the invite, but I can't make it. Or I have other commitments. You don't owe anyone an explanation for how you spend your time.
But I'm afraid they will hate me. I'm afraid I'll lose my friends if I am not always available.
If they stop being your friend because you said no, they were not your friend. They were using you. Real friends respect your boundaries. In fact, people respect you more when you value your own time. If you're always available, you seem low value.
That is a hard pill to swallow, but it's true. Scarcity creates value. If my time is scarce, people will value it more. So how do I start saying no without having a panic attack?
Start small. Say no to small things. No, I don't want coffee. No, I don't want to watch that movie. Practice the muscle. And remember, when you say no to them, you are saying yes to yourself.
Yes to myself. Yes to my monk mode. Yes to my health. Yes to my sleep. Every time I say yes to a distraction, I'm stealing from my own future.
Exactly. You have a limited amount of energy every day. View it like a battery. If you give 10% here and 20% there to people who don't matter, you have 0% left for your dreams. You have to be selfish to be selfless later.
Selfish has such a negative connotation, but we are talking about strategic selfishness. I need to fill my own cup before I can pour into others. I can't help anyone if I'm burnt out and resentful.
Precisely. Guard your time like it is gold, because it is. Set hours where you are unavailable. Put your phone on Do Not Disturb. Tell your family, from 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., I am studying. Please do not interrupt me unless the house is on fire.
I'm going to try that. I'm going to set a boundary with my phone first. No answering texts immediately. I will answer when it suits me, not when it buzzes. That is a small way to take back control.
That is a huge step. Control your inputs, control your life. Now, there is one area of life where silence and boundaries are absolutely critical, but people love to gossip about it.
Let me guess. Money?
Money. Financial privacy is a superpower. Jake, let's talk about money. In our culture, people love to flash their cash. They buy expensive cars, wear designer clothes, and post pictures of their watches. They scream, "Look at me, I'm rich." But real wealth whispers.
Money talks, wealth whispers. I've heard that. It means that truly rich people don't need to show off. But why should I keep my finances a secret? If I get a raise or make a good investment, I want to celebrate.
Celebrating is fine, but broadcasting your financial status changes your relationships. If people know you have money, they treat you differently. They might expect you to pay for dinner. They might ask for loans, or they might just feel jealous and resentful.
That is true. I had a friend who won some money and suddenly long-lost cousins started calling him. It ruined his friendships. He became paranoid that people only liked him for his wallet.
Exactly. Financial silence protects your relationships. It also protects you from lifestyle inflation. If you tell everyone you are rich, you feel pressure to look rich. You buy the fancy car to maintain the image. But if you practice stealth wealth, you can drive a Honda, live in a modest house, and have millions in the bank. That is freedom.
It goes back to validation, buying things to impress people you don't like. If I keep my money silent, I can use it for things that actually matter to me, like freedom, travel, or early retirement. I'm not spending it on an image.
Plus, discussing money can be awkward or hurtful. If you brag about your salary to a friend who is struggling to pay rent, it lacks empathy. It creates a divide. It's better to be vague. If someone asks, "How much do you make?" what do you say?
I usually get flustered and tell them, but I should probably say, "I make enough to get by," or "I'm comfortable," and change the subject. It's none of their business, really.
Exactly. I'm doing okay. That is a perfect neutral answer. Keep your financial goals to yourself, too. If you are saving for a house, don't tell everyone, just do it.
It's funny, we talk about everything else, but money is the last taboo. But keeping it private feels powerful. It's like having a secret superpower in your back pocket. I don't need to look rich, I want to be rich.
Being rich involves peace of mind, and you can't have peace if you are worried about what people think of your spending. Focus on your net worth, not your self-worth.
I'm going to practice financial minimalism, not just spending less, but talking less about it, moving in silence financially.
This applies to your career moves, too. Don't announce the new business until it's profitable. Don't announce the job application until you sign the contract. Protect the process.
Silence protects the seed until it grows into a tree.
Beautifully said. Now, to maintain this silence, you need to be good at one specific skill. You need to stop talking and start
Listening?
yes.
Anna, I talk a lot. Obviously, I'm a podcaster, but I've realized that when I'm talking, I'm not learning. I'm just repeating what I already know.
That is profound, Jake. There's an old saying, We have two ears and one mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. But in modern society, everyone wants to grab the microphone. Everyone wants to broadcast their opinion. Staying silent and listening is a rare power.
Why is it a power? It feels passive. It feels like I'm letting the other person win the conversation.
Listening is not passive, it is strategic. Information is power. When you listen, you gather information. You learn what the other person wants, what they fear, what they value. When you speak, you are giving away information. In a negotiation or even a relationship, the person who listens more holds the cards.
That's true. The quiet person in the meeting is usually the one observing everything. And when they finally speak, everyone listens because their words have weight. If you talk constantly, your words lose value. It's simple supply and demand.
Exactly. Silence creates gravity. Also, listening builds connection. People love to be heard. If you stay silent and let someone talk about themselves, they will think you are the most interesting person in the room, even if you said nothing.
It's the charisma hack. Ask questions, shut up, and listen. But it's hard. When someone is talking, I'm usually just waiting for my turn to speak. I'm formulating my response in my head instead of actually listening.
That is called listening to reply instead of listening to understand. To fix this, you have to practice active listening. Look them in the eye, nod, and wait 3 seconds after they finish speaking before you respond.
3 seconds? That will feel awkward of a silence.
It feels awkward to you, but to them it feels like respect. It shows you are digesting their words. And often in that silence, they'll keep talking and reveal even more truth. Silence draws people out.
I need to practice this. I need to be comfortable with the pause. I need to tame my ego that wants to say, I know that. Let me tell you my story.
Suppress the ego. Be a detective. Your goal in a conversation is to solve the mystery of the other person. You can't solve a mystery if you're making noise.
Be a detective. I like that. So focusing on myself doesn't mean ignoring others. It means listening to them to learn, but keeping my own cards close to my chest.
Yes, you observe the world to navigate it better. You move in silence, you observe, you act.
Listening also helps with English learning. I can't learn new vocabulary if I'm the one talking.
100%. Listening is the input, speaking is the output. You need input to grow.
Okay. For the next 24 hours, I'm going to try to talk 50% less and listen 50% more.
You will be amazed at what you hear.
Listening requires solitude, too. You have to be able to listen to your own thoughts.
That is being alone without being lonely.
Anna, all this talk about silence and monk mode, frankly, it sounds a little lonely. I'm scared of being alone. If I'm not with friends or texting someone, I feel like a loser. I feel isolated.
That is a very common fear, Jake. But we need to distinguish between loneliness and solitude. They look the same, you are by yourself, but they feel completely different. Loneliness is the pain of being alone. Solitude is the glory of being alone.
The glory of being alone? How can being alone be glorious?
Solitude is a choice. It is a state of peace where you enjoy your own company. It is where you recharge, reflect, and create. All great ideas, all great art, all great self-discovery happens in solitude. You cannot hear your inner voice if there is constant noise from others.
I guess I drown out my inner voice with Netflix and podcasts because I'm afraid of what it might say. I'm afraid to be bored with my own thoughts.
That is why you need to practice it. You need to date yourself. Take yourself out for coffee. Go for a walk without headphones. Sit in a room and just think. Learn to be your own best friend. If you are happy with yourself, you will never be lonely.
If you're lonely when you are alone, you're in bad company. I read that somewhere. It's harsh, but true. I need to become better company for myself.
And here is the paradox. When you are comfortable in solitude, your relationships improve. You stop needing people to fill a void and you start wanting them because you appreciate them. You become less clingy, less desperate.
That makes sense. Neediness repels people. Independence attracts them. A person who is happy alone is magnetic.
Exactly. Solitude also gives you the space to process your emotions. If you're always busy, you shove your feelings down. In silence, they come up, you deal with them, and you heal. It is therapeutic.
So, monk mode isn't about punishment. It's about healing and strengthening the relationship with myself. It's about building a foundation so strong that I don't need constant external validation.
Yes, you become self sufficient. You validate yourself. You entertain yourself. You guide yourself. That is true maturity.
I'm going to try to spend 1 hour this weekend totally alone. No phone, no internet, no people, just me and a notebook.
It might be uncomfortable at first. You might feel the itch to check your phone, but push through it. On the other side of that boredom is clarity.
I'm ready to meet myself. I haven't really talked to Jake in a long time.
He has a lot to tell you.
We have covered so much, Anna. Mindset, habits, privacy, money, listening. It feels like a complete lifestyle overhaul.
It is, and now we need to wrap it all up. What does the final result look like?
The transformation.
Jake, we have reached the end of our journey, part 10. We talked about moving in silence, avoiding the comparison trap, entering monk mode, ignoring haters, protecting our money, and embracing solitude.
It feels like we have built a roadmap for a new life. A life that is quieter on the outside, but much louder and richer on the inside.
That is the perfect description. When you focus on yourself and stay silent, you stop being a character in other people's stories and become the author of your own. You stop reacting to the world and start creating your world.
I feel like this lifestyle saves so much energy. All the energy I used to waste on jealousy, on gossip, on trying to impress people on Instagram, now I can pour that energy into my goals.
And the results will speak for themselves. You won't have to tell people you are doing well. They will see it. They will see your calmness. They will see your focus. They will see your success. And they will ask, how did you do it?
And I'll just smile and say, nothing.
Or you can tell them to listen to this podcast. But yes, the mystery is part of the power.
To our listeners, this isn't about becoming a hermit or being antisocial. It's about being intentional. It's about choosing when to speak and when to engage rather than doing it compulsively.
Exactly. You can still love your friends and family, but you love them from a place of wholeness, not emptiness. You set boundaries to protect your peace.
I challenge everyone listening to pick one area of their life to apply this to. Maybe keep your next big goal a secret, or maybe stop posting on social media for a week. Just try it and see how much power you gain.
The journey of self-improvement is a lonely path sometimes, but it is the most rewarding one. Keep going, keep growing, and remember, work hard in silence, let your success be your noise.
Thank you, Anna. This series has been a wake-up call for me. I'm going to zip my lips and get to work.
Thank you, Jake, and thank you to our amazing listeners for giving us your time. We appreciate you.
If you enjoyed this series, please subscribe to Talk in English. Leave a comment below about what you are going to focus on.
But don't tell us everything. Keep the best parts for yourself.
Right. Keep some secrets. Goodbye, everyone.
See you in the next series. Stay focused.